Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm Cass with College of Lore.
I am the Penitent with College of Lore.
We're reviewing an RPG.
Yeah, so this is an RPG review feature, which some
Whoa.
of you actually watch.
Some of you actually watched this. That's super cool.
Today we are reviewing Masks by
right.
Brendan Conway.
Hey, you're not supposed to say who made
Oh.
it yet. I have to ask you that later.
My apologies.
Yeah. Like, comment, subscribe.
We are on the road to...
We're on the road to 150 by the end of the year. We're at 119. You guys are the coolest. You're awesome. I love you. Keep doing it.
Do check us out on Patreon, and special thanks to our patrons.
Remy Sweet and winner.
Yes.
Yeah.
We do love you guys ever so much.
Ever so much. You get shouted out in literally all of our videos.
And if you'd like to get shouted out in our videos, check us out on Patreon.
And you can also join our cool Discord server where you get to talk to cool people, us.
Yeah.
Because we're the coolest ever.
We
Anyway,
are the coolest. So,
let's review Masks.
yes, so, yeah, Masks. This is our first PBTA game.
I have to ask you questions.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
What is it?
So, Masks is the first PBTA game we're reviewing that isn't the system's namesake.
Okay.
And
Good job. Great start.
it's a superhero RPG
Okay.
where your party steps into the shoes of teenage superhumans. Note, I'm not saying superheroes because there's nothing in the rules. It leans hero.
But you don't have to be one.
But there's nothing in the rules. I've played an Undersider game in this system before.
Wow. Worm moment. The thing
literally
no one else on this channel knows about.
One person commented.
One person mentioned it once. That is true. That is true.
Read
One
Worm
person picked up on it. Read
by
Worm.
Wild. Actually,
Don't.
no. Actually,
No.
read Worm fanfic.
No.
Oh, also don't do
Don't.
that.
No. Worm fanfic is a cesspool.
Read the Worm wiki.
That's gonna take you 20 years.
No.
Read Worm, but don't, get invested in
In all
it.
seriousness, check out Worm by Wildbow
Unless you are easily triggered by things, because they really weren't kidding. That story can have more trigger warnings applicable than not applicable. Yeah,
I have a hill I will die on about Worm, but that's not for this video.
it's fine. It's fine. We're gonna be so normal about it. Anyway, who made Masks?
So, it was designed by Brendan Conway and published by Magpie Games.
Magpie Games. I don't know why I said that like I was excited about it. I don't know who they are.
Which you may actually know, Magpie Games.
Might I?
Because they also published...
Oh boy.
Oh, as I search around my brain. Avatar Legends, which we talked about in our top 10 RPGs based on existing IPs.
I know of it. I have never played it. How cooperative is Masks?
So, it definitely has a cooperative bent to it.
Okay.
Like, with all PBTA games to an extent, except for actually Base Apocalypse World, funnily enough.
Wild.
The conceit is normally that they're
Your buddies.
buddies.
Your pals.
But you could be absolutely on opposing teams. You could do villains and heroes. It has a slight bent to it, but honestly, it doesn't have to be cooperative or have to be opposing.
Alright. How many dice can I put in my mouth with this game? What? How crunchy is it?
Oh. So it's a PBTA game. It's a powered by the Apocalypse game. It uses the Apocalypse World system. So relatively light crunch. If you know how to play Apocalypse World, you will know how to play this game.
Cool. I love saying things in just the dispassionate energy. I think it's fun. Anyway, Grimdark scale. How we doing?
So relatively light. I have a thought in my brain about superhero content.
Yeah.
That the more sources powers can come from,
Yeah.
the campier it is.
That's fair.
So you
That
look at
makes
something
sense.
like Marvel, where it's like, oh, we have aliens and gods and mutants and science experiments and all this stuff.
Yeah.
That can tend to get a little campy. That can tend to kind of pull some stuff out of left field to like Deus Ex Machina or Resurrection. Whereas opposed to something like Worm by Wildbow,
Yeah,
where
we're gonna keep talking about it because it's actually really good.
all the sources, all of the powers come from the exact same thing.
Well, not the exact same thing.
Well,
They come from trauma, though.
yeah, they come from. Well,
It all boils down to, oh shit, we're fucked up.
the power source is just there's a little alien shard in your brain that can activate and give you powers.
Well, but it comes from trauma,
Yes.
so
So
they activate via trauma.
Whereas
Problems, disease.
all of that, whereas more sources, and this game is definitely only more sources, there are playbooks designed for people to be aliens or people to be no powers tech people, and yeah.
Cool.
But you could always flavor it dark.
If you want
I've played a game set in the worm setting.
Yeah.
Played in Masks before, and we just kind of changed how the powers work and kind of cut some playbooks down. And you could definitely make it like dark, if that's how you want to lean things. I know some comics, even in the more wondrous worlds, can get very dark. So yeah.
How do you play this game?
So it's an apocalypse. It's a Power Play Apocalypse game, as I've said a
Okay.
couple times.
But
It's a 2d6 system.
that's how I read that in my head.
With kind of scaling successes, kind of partial success, full success, failure. Players base their characters off of playbooks that have special moves, but you only ever roll the 2d6 dice.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have a little note on the
I do.
the scripting on the
So-
ranking for this one.
There are a ton of PBTA games, and I've played a lot of them.
Yeah.
My favorite, personally, are Masks and Monster Hearts, and it's not particularly close.
Between those two, or between those and other ones?
Those are my two favorite PBTA games.
Yeah.
Of ever, basically.
Yeah.
So full bias, I love Masks. I'm actually not the biggest fan of the Power Play Apocalypse system. It can be a little bit...
I don't like it either. You made me try it once. I didn't like it.
No, I didn't make you try it once.
Okay, we tried it once, together with someone else who will not be mentioned.
But if I had
I looked at it. I didn't like it.
If
though.
I had to play a PBTA game, you sit me down, Masks or Monster Hearts will automatically get me more invested.
When are we reviewing Monster Hearts?
Soon.
Oh, cool. Let's get into the
That's
numbers.
The gay one, if you are wondering.
Romance. Let's get into the numbers. I almost said gay.
Yeah.
Alright. Concept. Score. Out of 10. 8?
8 out of 10, yeah.
8, okay.
I think it's a neat little concept. I think the
Scratchy.
idea of just like... I think the fact that it's expressly supposed to be teenage is interesting.
Yeah.
It's more strict to the teenager than it is to the hero aspect.
That's
Because you can do villains. You cannot do adults in this.
Okay.
The playbooks just don't work for it.
cool.
It's meant to be like, oh, you're the protege of a hero, or you're the child of a powerful hero, or you're the child of a powerful villain.
Ooh.
The game is largely metaphorical in a lot of its things, and it's meant to be about like teenage self-discovery, exploration, kind of breaking out of your parents' shadow. The biggest one for me is the alien one, where it's like you are a teenager on from an alien planet who's come to Earth and
Wild.
all this stuff. And
That's cool.
It takes a lot of inspiration from shows like Young Justice, shows like Teen Titans. There's actually, if you're looking for it, some design notes that indicate that the people who've made this might have read Worm at some point.
Good. Love that.
Mainly because one of the characters that they use in the concept art for playbooks resembles Skitter to a relative degree. And one of the powers on that playbook is insect control.
Yeah. Love that for her. Skitter, my fucking beloved.
Yes.
Cost of entry.
9 of 10. So it's
Cool.
one book. It's just one like $30 to $40 book. And like as long as you have 2d6, which you can get if you own like Monopoly,
Yay.
you've got this.
You remember when we played Monopoly in the car the other day?
Oh, Mental Monopoly, yeah.
Mental Monopoly. Worst experience of my life. We did not get very far in that game.
No.
Don't play Mental Monopoly. Playeries.
So, easier than Mental Monopoly, I would say.
Okay. Awesome. What's
It's
the number?
a 9 out of 10. So it's a PBTA game. It's standard. If you've played any of the PBTA games before, you've played this game.
Okay.
It's really easy to get into and learn. Yeah.
GMEs. Go.
8 out of 10. So, GMing this game isn't particularly hard. It actually simplifies things a little bit from base Powered by the Apocalypse.
Oh, Worm.
We
talked about that earlier.
Yeah, you just need to keep things in kind of everything in front of you, keep things in perspective, and it runs great.
All right. Flexibility.
So, this was a hard one for me.
Yeah.
I would say 6 of 10. So, the thing about it is you can make so many backstories, so many powers, so many interesting things.
Mm-hmm.
But you're all meant to have...
You're all superhumans.
Teenage superhumans. And it does very much push you in the direction of heroes that you can break free from that. The teenage restriction is kind of what gets me... Like, it's my favorite part of the game. But it does lower its flexibility a bit.
That's fair.
Because you have to play teenage characters, and if you want to make an adult superhero game or something like that, you're much better looking elsewhere. But as long as you can keep the constraints of your story within all the PCs or teenagers, then this can be a really good game. So 6 out of 10 for me.
Variety.
9 out of 10.
Oh,
so,
this one's up there. Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
So there are so many... You can have basically virtually any power.
Yeah.
And basically virtually any backstory. And you don't have to be human. You can be an android. You can be an alien. I believe you can be some sort of, like, animal.
Oh, word.
And if you are human, you have so many varied things, from being like a Robin type where you're raised by a hero, or just a nobody like a Peter Parker type.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a ton of variety in this.
Okay.
9 out of 10, especially because there's some species variety as well.
All right. Popularity.
4 out of 10.
That's fair.
PBTA games can't really tank that bad in popularity, but there's no, like, subreddit for Mask as far as I know. There's no Wikipedia page.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 4 out of 10 seems about fair to me.
Okay. Replay value.
10 out of 10. I don't... It's hard for me to see you running out of plot lines for this game.
That's fair.
There's so many things you can do with it.
And there's so many different vibes for characters.
Yeah. You could play 2 different characters from the same playbook and have them be totally unique.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of fun with the replay value. I think it can be replayed several times.
Okay.
Honestly, it could be replayed infinitely as long as... Again, the one restriction is teenagers. So if you don't like that restriction...
teenage characters.
Yeah. If you don't like that restriction, this is not the game for you. As long as you do...
It pops.
Yes.
Fun.
So, for me, fun is subjective, obviously, but 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10. Okay.
It's a great time. I love the self-exploration, the kind of self-discovery aspect.
I do love that.
That's kind of the conceit, and that's kind of the metaphor in a lot of this. It's a blast to mirror some of the things in works like Worm and works like Young Justice we're doing this very adult thing, this very dangerous thing, but we're also teenagers, and while you have to save the world 1 minute, you also have, like, crushes, and potentially you're still going to high school.
Oh, they're just little high schoolers.
Yeah.
They're little guys.
Yeah.
Quality.
8 out of 10. So,
okay.
PBTA games have this problem I talk about a lot, where they write very flowery, and they will sacrifice coherency for flavor.
Okay.
Masks, all PBTA games do that, basically. Masks does it less than others.
Mm-hmm. But they do it.
They do it to an extent, yes.
Okay.
The book is fairly understandable and well written. Again, no major typos. Some of the theming is a bit unbalanced, I would say. Some of it is like... They're clearly going for things.
Yeah.
And they clearly want you to play characters a certain way.
Yeah.
Even within things, because of the moves you can choose.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why it's harder to do villains, because a lot of the moves are heroic.
Yeah.
And the big thing for me is... They have this section on... It's an optional section, but it is there. On the character sheet for the playbooks, which is like power selection.
Yeah.
And as a new player looking at this, as any player coming into this, the idea that you can buck that power selection thing and choose your own is kind of a bit out there, alien to you. And it can feel really restrictive to have powers restricted to certain playbooks. And it's optional, but it's always going to be in the back of your mind.
Yeah.
So that gets me just to ding it a little on the quality. But it's at least less like reading a poetry book than Powered by the Apocalypse games tend to be.
All right. And where does that leave us? Overall score? How are we looking?
80 out of 100.
Okay, that's pretty fucking good on our list. It's better than last week's.
So, that is going to put it at number 4 on our list.
Okay.
Behind D&D 5e at 85, Fate Core at 84, Pathfinder 2e at 81.
And then Masks at 80.
Yes. Which is ahead of Call of Cthulhu by 1 point at 79. Shadowrun and Fiasco are at 77, Apocalypse World at 73.5, Burning Wheel Gold at 72, and Blades in the Dark at 70.
Alright. Well, we did it.
So that's going to do it. That's
Reviewed.
our review of Masks.
RPG review. RPG has been reviewed. Hell
Thank you
yeah.
guys so much for the support. It's been awesome these past few weeks.
You guys are killing it. Stay with us. Keep it going.
We do this every single day, so do come back here.
Check us out.
Someone asked us once, do you think you'll ever run out of content?
The answer is no.
No.
Not as long as people are still making RPGs to review.
Yeah, someday I will have to write my own RPGs every week and review them, because we'll have reviewed every RPG to ever exist, but that will be a while from now.
Man, that will take a long time.
I'm imagining, like, years from now having to review, like, okay, here's Pathfinder 1st edition, and here's how it differs from 2nd edition.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see this list in, like, a year when it has 50 on it and see what...
Yeah, it's gonna be cool.
There is one thing in my brain that could ever beat 5e, and I'm curious to see if it will.
What is it?
It might actually be Monster Hearts.
Oh yeah? Wild. Okay.
Monster Hearts and potentially 3.5 could be 5e.
Okay, cool. Alright, well, you'll have to stay tuned to find out if that happens.
Alright, thank you guys. Remember to eat your veggies.
Ew, gross.
Stay in school.
Vegetables. Don't do drugs. I actually don't care if you do drugs.
Do some drugs.
Which ones? Your medication if you need to take those.
Acetaminophen.
Go take your meds.
And go take your meds.
Go take your meds. Drink some water. Eat some good snacks.
Go take my meds while you're...
That's not how that works. That's not how that works.
Alright, bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching this video from College of Lore. Remember to like this video, subscribe to join the party, and have a fantastic adventure.